All right, so let's look again at how we factor our trinomials. So you just went through an activity where you learned how to pick the two factors who have a product of one number but who have a sum of another number. So let's look at this first one, x squared minus 5x minus 14. So remember, you want to multiply to that last term, the minus 14, but you want to add to the negative 5 right here. Okay? Now, that means we need to find factors of negative 14. So a good way to start is by making a little chart for your list of factors. Hopefully, as you get more practice, you might not need the chart every single time, but for now, it kind of helps. So our factors of 14, we could have 1 and 14. Now, we need a negative 14, so we could have negative 1 and positive 14, or 1 and negative 14. We could also have negative 2 and positive 7, or 2 and negative 7. And that's it. That's our only factors of negative 14. We need to find the pair that are going to add up to negative 5. So this is the one we want, 2 and negative 7, because 2 plus negative 7 equals negative 5. So that means that this factors to x plus 2, because it was a positive 2, and x minus 7, because it was a minus 7. Or you could put the x minus 7 first. It doesn't matter which way. You could put x plus 2 times x minus 7, or you could put x minus 7 times x plus 2. Now, you always want to check. So let's check real quick. Let's do the x minus 7 times the x plus 2. So if I FOIL that out, I'm going to get x squared plus 2x minus 7x minus 14. And when I combine my like terms in the middle, I get x squared minus 5x minus 14. So I know that this is the correct answer. Okay, let's look at this next one. Now I need factors of 96. Now let's think about this. I have to multiply to a positive 96, but I have to add to a negative 22. So if I have to multiply to a positive number, I either need two positive numbers or two negatives. So if I also have to add to a negative, that means I need two negative numbers, because the product of two negative numbers would be a positive. The sum of those two negative numbers would be negative. So I'm looking for two negative numbers. All right, so 96, negative 1 and negative 96, but that doesn't add up to negative 22. I could do negative 2 and negative 48, but that's not going to add up to negative 22. I could do negative 3 and negative 32. Those will multiply to 96, but they don't add up to negative 22. I could do negative 4 and negative 24. Those have a product of 96, but they add up to negative 28. So I'm getting closer. Each time when I add those up, I'm getting closer to negative 22. Negative 5 is not a factor because 96 ends in a 6. So let's try 6. And that would be negative 6 times negative 16. There we have it. If I do a negative 6 plus a negative 16, that's the negative 22 that I want. So this factors to x minus 6, x minus 16, or if you want the x minus 16 first, that's fine. Either one of those is acceptable. So if you want to make sure, you can pause the video and do your check, but that will, in fact, work out. All right, let's look at this next one, number 3. This is 2x squared plus 3x minus 27. Do you see something a little bit different here? Hopefully you're recognizing that in the first two examples, our leading coefficient was 1. But now our leading coefficient is 2. That kind of changes things. What it means is we have a little bit of a different method for going ahead and factoring this. Let's try the method that we used in the past. What we would do in the past, or in these first two examples, is we would find factors of negative 27, and they have to add up to positive 3. So we could have a negative 1 and a 27, or a 1 and a negative 27. We could have a negative 3 and a 9, or a 3 3 and a negative 9. Those are the only factors of 27. Now, if you look at those, none of those add up to positive 3. So, what do we do now? Are we stuck? Is there no answer? Do we just stop? Well, no, because this 2 right here means that the pair of factors we choose, they aren't going to add up to 3 because they are going to have some other steps before we get them to add up to 3. Here's what I mean. So I still get 2 sets of binomials, and when I multiply them together, they're still supposed to equal 2x squared plus 3x minus 27. So think in terms of FOIL here. These first 2 terms, when I multiply them together, I'm supposed to get 2x squared. Well, instead of x and x like I did on the first 2 examples, now I need 2x and x. 2x times x is what's going to give me 2x squared. So what that means is the numbers that I put in these blank spaces here, when I do my FOIL, when I multiply this 2x by this number here, it gets multiplied by 2 before I come and add it to these inside terms. And then I go ahead and do the last 2 like always. So my last 2 numbers still have to multiply to negative 27, but they're not necessarily going to add up to positive 3 because this one right here is going to get multiplied by 2 first before I try to add it. So what we do here is we just do trial and error. Okay, now I'm going to walk through all the possibilities and I'm going to show you why some of them don't work until we find the one that does work. And again, this might be a good habit for you as you're getting started, but eventually you'll be able to start to kind of predict which numbers you can throw out right away so you don't have to write them all down. All right, so trial and error. Here's what I mean. I know it's going to start with 2x and x. Let's just go through all 4 of our pairs of factors. So the first one was a minus 1 and a plus 27. So if I do FOIL on that, I'm going to get 2x squared plus 54x minus 1x minus 27. But when I add these together, I get plus 53x. But remember, I want plus 3x. So these don't work. So I'm going to put a note here. All right, let's try again. This is why it's called trial and error. We try. If it doesn't work, we try again. All right, well, let's see if the second pair works. The positive 1 and the minus 27. Well, all that's going to do is change the signs. So that's going to give me a 2x squared, but then that's going to give me minus 54x plus 1x minus 27, which is going to give me minus 53x in the middle. That's not the plus 3x that I need. So that's no good. All right, let's try again. All right, let's try the minus 3 and the plus 9. Okay, that's going to give me 2x squared plus 18x minus 3x minus 27. And when I add those up in the middle, that's going to give me plus 15x. Nope, that's not what I want. Uh-oh, let's try again. Let's try the plus 3 and the minus 9. But again, all that's going to do is change the sign. But let's just go through it. Again, this is your first time doing it, so you want to try everything. Even if it seems tedious, let's just try it now. And eventually, we'll be able to maybe skip. Plus 3x minus 27, but this is just going to give us minus 15x in the middle. So this one doesn't work either. So does that mean none of our factors work? Well, we did try all 4 of those possibilities, but now that we have this 2 here, now it does matter where we put the numbers that we choose as our factors. Remember up here where I said between these 2 it didn't matter? That's because each x was just 1x and 1x. Well, now that 1 is a 2, if I switch my factors, like for instance, if I were to switch the 3 and the 9 right here, if I put the 3 on the other side, now the 3 is going to get multiplied by the 2, and then that's going to change it. So let's keep going. Let's stick with the 3's and the 9's and see if we can't get this to work. So we still have 2x and x. And remember, we want 2x squared plus 3x minus 27. So let's switch the placing of the 9 and the 3. Alright, so I'm going to get 2x squared minus 6x. See what happens when we change the places of what gets multiplied by the 2? So I get 2x squared minus 6x plus 9x minus 27. So 2x squared plus 3x minus 27. Got it. So my final answer is 2x plus 9, x minus 3. There we have it. So as you can see, this time it does matter where we put the 9 and where we put the 3. We needed the 3 out here, so it could be multiplied by the 2 over here. Before, when we had the 9 right here, then it got multiplied by the 2 and it was 18 and it was too big. So we needed to put the 3 right there. So, as you're going through the next section in the ebook, you're going to learn about 2 methods. You're going to learn about this trial and error, which is basically what I just did here with you. Or you're going to learn about another method called the grouping method. So as you read through the different examples and you watch the videos, kind of see which one you like better. Most people kind of gravitate towards one versus the other. Like I said, the trial and error can seem kind of tedious because, as you saw, we had to go through it like 5 times before we got the actual answer. But pretty soon you'll be able to throw out some of the possibilities. Like you can start to predict in this case, oh, like the 1 and the 27 wasn't going to work because our numbers were going to be too big. It wasn't going to add up to 3. So hopefully you'll find one of these methods that work better for you, and find one that works and stick with it.